Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2. Let me introduce to you the Terran who's been on a tear in the top right, the last mech Terran, though he's entirely capable of playing bio as well. It is GuMiho and the Challenger. These two have faced off more times than I can count, and I can count pretty high. We can always count on him for some pretty great games. We have Solar, the most consistent Zerg, as long as nuclear weapons are not on the table. But a best of 5 Terran versus Zerg here in the ESL Summer Championships. GuMiho rewriting the book on Terran versus Zerg almost every single week, and Solar sticking right to the more standard meta plays. But if you want mech in any way, shape, or form, then I'm going to ask you to make one thing happen. Like, and hopefully you're already there, but subscribe if you haven't made it. And Jimmy, 1058 every day, every cast, usually the same 2 things. We're upping the ante. We're adding one more. You might be like, well, that's going to take so long to get like even more. Well, this is not my first rodeo, or my second. I think actually we're somewhere in the 600s when it comes to professional castings. Commentary. I hope I make your day a little bit better, and I hope to show some good games, and I know these two are very likely to put them together. GuMiho kicking things off, just constantly annoying with the Reaper Hellion, though he has walled off the front with the barracks and the factory. Does have a Tech Lab starport behind, though not utilizing it yet. Just poking and prodding and bouncing the queens away. Even one for a double re... Is he gonna fight, or... Really? Really? What? Well, there's no Zergling speed. Solar one for the quick third. GuMiho recognizing that. Just drives right by the queens. Already killing 4 drones. This is... this is pretty rough to watch. Wow. Alright, so he goes with the classic just drive by him strategy. Doesn't end up killing too many drones. And a 3rd Reaper actually joins the fray. They're going to do the full world tour here. At least the base tour. Hellion still looking for an opportunity. The Zergling count is more than enough now, and Solar has already started rebuilding those drones. But GuMiho, almost a leisurely cruise right by the queens into the mineral line. There weren't that many drones to kill, which is part of the reason he wasn't able to get too many. But it definitely could have been worse. It was pretty bad, though, for Solar. GuMiho recognizing that if you're going to get a 3rd hatch that quick, it's very unlikely you'll have Zergling speed. And the queens, well, he's in again. All right, 5, 6 drones. And this is a meaningful time to kill drones. That's another key part. It's much more important to kill 5, 10 drones before 40 than it is to kill 20 drones at 60. Give or take. As this is right when Solar wants to be ramping up his economy. He wants to be using his injects to kind of exponentially increase the economy here, and the combination of the Hellions drawing the queens out of position and killing the drones themselves means that Solar's not going to be able to catch up nearly as quickly. The downside, of course, is GuMiho has expended essentially all of his Hellions. He's lost 8 and 3pers as well. So he has very little ability to follow that up and retain map control, at least for the time being, as his army consists of 2 Banshees, 1 Hellion, and 2 Marines. As he goes into your more standard bio play, we got Stim, we got no, I'm sorry, Freudian slip. I'm so used to saying it. We got Stim and 1-1 on the way, not the triple threat we're used to. Oh my god, the Cloak Banshees just fly over the queens. A lot of he's just not respecting the personal space of the Zerg here. The Banshees coming in. There are spores, but the lair is pretty long way off here. So, now Overseers are not going to be part of the equation for a while yet. Banshees just poking and prodding. There's actually no way for the queens to detect right now, so they got to stay near enough to the spores. GuMiho splitting his Banshees. 5 more kills between them. Wow. Okay, being very annoying here. I think he was just scout. It's a bit weird on that one, but the creep spread has already started off. And GuMiho once again without anything but the Banshees to keep it in check. All right, Solar, let's see it. Not really taking advantage of this. There you go. All right. Of the space created. Solar at 66 drones, full 3 base saturation, working on a 4th. GuMiho has sprinted into 5 barracks with full production, 1-1 combat shield now on the way. So everything going to be coming together. As GuMiho has spent a lot of effort setting up this attack. And Solar, what does he have behind it? He noticed the Overlord and kind of, you know when you pass by and you're like, wait a second. Was that a McDonald's? No, it was a McDonald's, GuMiho. It's like, oh, even better. All right. Well, army supply. You can really see when the production kicks in for GuMiho here. Almost Zerg-like. In fact, outstripping the Zerg in terms of production explosion as those barracks come up and he starts pumping out Marines and tanks. Oh, God. He's using the high ground by the minerals here. Finding all the sneaky spots to jam the siege tanks into. Thankfully for Solar, he does have baneling speed done. But unfortunately for Solar, he doesn't have 1-1. As the siege tank marine attack going to be quite dangerous. The Banshees at home. Even though there is no wall, the Zerglings don't want to waste it. But the Banshees are not going away anytime soon. So the counterattack being shut down means GuMiho can focus on the frontal push. The Banshees are heading across now, too, to reinforce. The Marines still zoning out. The siege tanks on the back line. Not so intent on... Oh, he's just going to kill the hatch. All right, GuMiho just gets the hatch. Solar struggling. He doesn't feel like Solar is confident in his ability to fight this army. And I base that on the fact he decided not to, despite losing the hatchery. He did not really have an alternative base to fall back to. GuMiho with some textbook Terran here, able to leverage those siege tanks and Marines into an increasingly good position. Wings and Banes. Oh, now the Cletus pick up there. Some of those Marines getting taken out by the Banes, but Solar is actually supply blocked. At 140, GuMiho is at 180 supply, despite his losses of the Hellions and the Marines earlier. Just a macro god. GuMiho right now. Gonna get 2-2, almost done. 4th command center. And the only reason he's not maxed out is a bit of a supply block here. Another Ling Bane attempt. GuMiho trying to target him down. Actually slurps up and gets out just in time. So far, so good. GuMiho holding the line. Siege tanks in a nice position on the low ground, able to fire over the top towards the center. Banshees on the left flank. The drones are transferring, maybe not the time. Queen's coming back to defend, but without even really a major battle being fought, it looks like Solar is on the ropes as GuMiho is maxed out with 2-2 Terran. More production on the way. He has sacrificed nothing to make this happen. This was a full macro build from GuMiho, and now the full weight of the Terran army will be bearing down on Solar, who I'm not entirely confident is capable of bearing it. 5 on the way. More hatcheries. The only mistake GuMiho could make is waiting too long to press the attack. Waiting for Solar to get his upgrades and his production. I don't think he will. The Banshees once again zone out the counterattack. There might be over 100 Lings and Banes on the field, but GuMiho literally can't build any more units, so might as well use them. +1 mech weapons is complete. He's clearing the creep all the way to the front of the 3rd and the 4th bases. Hydras are added in for Solar, but the army supply for GuMi. And those Lings and Banes getting caught up on the high ground there, giving some prime targets for the siege tanks. The Banshees are still going. 8 kills, 12 kills. May cloak, Overseer comes around. But GuMiho, slow and steady, works his way forward. Solar has been given a lot of time to rebuild, and 2-2 is 12 seconds out. He's likely going to wait for that to complete. That's his best case scenario for fighting this. 4, 3, 2, 1. And it's not going to get any better now for Solar. His army supply is a little under that of GuMiho, but here he goes. Gonna attempt to break the siege tanks. Marines microing back. Siege tanks on the high ground have a great firing line. On top of those banelings, the concave is in favor of the Terran. And GuMiho will drive the Zerg back. A pretty comfortable hold there for the Korean Terran. A couple liberators. He's already behind it. By the way, he's got a planetary and another command center. So he is making no concessions economically to attack so aggressively. Solar banelings rolling in, blunting the attack, but not nearly stopping it. More siege tanks taken out, but he's even got siege tanks in the center here. Really understanding, and this is what I've always said is GuMiho's greatest strength. He might not have the APM, it's 330 average, which is slow for a Terran at this level, to 530 for Solar. But he knows how to make use of it. He is one of the most pragmatic Terran players. He plans his attacks and executes them incredibly well. And now infantry weapons, level 3. There are Vipers on the field. Binding Cloud is good, but there are many more tanks behind it. Disables another. But there's plenty of tanks. He's grinding through the Zerg. Siege tank spread. I can't believe it's not butter. Plus 3 armor done. More tanks. Hydra's trying to split. Still Marines and Marauders. Medevac's mostly out of energy. But the siege tanks are the ones dealing the real damage here. Solar struggling. Another blinding cloud. I think Abduct might be a better option, but... And just like that, more with a whimper than a bang, GuMiho grinds through and takes game 1. That was pretty decisive. From the run by all the way through to the tank push, it was all GuMiho all the time. The one half-hearted attempt at a real counterattack. Honestly, I think Solar should have just committed. It's just 2 Banshees. You have 30-something Zerglings, so you can still kill a lot of SCVs. But GuMiho looking like a decisively better player to start off. But this is why we put... Oh my. Alright, you guys have watched enough GuMiho games lately. If I tell you GuMiho was doing his typical strat in game 2, can you tell me what it is? You might not have to. GuMiho with Proxy 3 Rex at the Watchtower in game 2. He's thrown Solar off balance, so we're going to be thinking about how do I handle that sort of really heavy macro style? How do I deal with it going into the mid to late game? Well, this game may not reach that point. And it's such a weird position, too. Like, he's going to see any Overlords coming from quite a ways out. 2, it's so far out. It's not a particularly quick Proxy Rex, but it's so far out that it's going to take a bit to show up. So that might be Solar's best defense. The fact his spawning pool will likely be done by the time he sees it. But if you're not saving larva... Oh no, he built another drone! Yeah, if you're not saving larva...
Command
yeah, that's the first time. He pulls the drones, which is not ideal against the 3 Rex. There's just too many Marines too quickly, but... he really doesn't want the bunkers to come up. It's gonna come down to micro. GuMiho shows up unannounced, uninvited. But now, he may end up owning the place. This is very tough to deal with if you didn't have the larva ready to build Zerglings. If you can get a spine crawler. So, if you don't bank up larva for 4 to 6 extra lings early, that's what I'm talking about here. But the bunker is not quite done yet. The SCV was not targeted. The Marines slip in. It's bad. Will he target the drones? 6, 7, 8 drones. And the Marines are still going, by the way. Solar back to the number he started with. GuMiho loses his SCVs, yes, but he has an economic lead. He's got an orbital command complete. He can lift the barracks and hunt overlords, and he has enough marines that a Zerg without Zergling speed... the oldest strategy in the Terran arsenal, the proxy Rex. Still incredibly dangerous. And Solar clearly not even really thinking about it. Bit of a panic pull on those drones there. If it had just been a 2 Rex, then maybe there aren't enough Marines in time. But the 3 Rex is just so much. It's just that extra 50% of Marines. That usually makes the difference. I don't know. What do you do? He's just gonna fight. There's the transfuse. But the Marine count, GuMiho not intimidated by this. He just walks up. He knows the damage he did. He knows Solar has no good options. The Overlords. GG. GuMiho off to a quick 2-0. Oh my. Well, that was a bit filthy there. Wow. Oh, this is a tough one for Solar. It's now 2-0. Pretty much, honestly, it feels like we're barely recovered from game 1, and now Solar is 1 game from elimination. Well, going into game 3 on Dragon Scales. GuMiho on match point. Oh my. I'm gonna be going home early on this one. If it keeps up. But no proxy Rex. Okay, Solar. Oh my god. Jimmy! What do you mean a time warp? That ability doesn't exist. Oh, on the mothership. Yeah, no one builds those. And also there's no Protoss here. This is like tournament playoffs. We don't have Protoss here. No, Max Pax isn't real. Where were we? Solar. Feels like a bit of the punching bag. For many players on their way into the later rounds of many tournaments. He's so good. But he's overshadowed by Cyril, who is essentially just a little bit better in so many ways. Like, Solar, if Cyril didn't exist, Solar would be the best macro Zerg. Dark, I don't think has that level. Dark is the most mentally draining Zerg. Literally and figuratively, since half his strategies revolve around stealing your units. But Solar just doesn't have that bleeding edge, it feels. To take out someone like GuMiho even, in this case. He's really GuMiho's gotten the better end of it. Twice in a row now. Yeah, it's only been 2 games. And What is this? What are you doing? Does he scan? No. Okay. He just builds. He's bunker rushing again. Wow. This is pretty filthy. GuMiho's like, well, I'm gonna combine the best of both worlds. I'm gonna do a bunker rush expand. One of those BREs. Because everyone knows if you slap a 3-letter acronym on it, it makes it sound much smarter. Well, these Hellions shouldn't get much. Yeah. Handful of Zerglings. Is he gonna, he's not gonna get the hatch. He can't get the hatch. You can't let him have the hatch. I don't think there are enough Marines. And the Queens, yeah, no SCVs to repair. A bit annoying, but he's gonna kill a lot of the Lings, but yeah, this was a bit much. This was a bit ambitious. I feel like GuMiho just smiling. Like, what if it worked, though? I bet you were pretty upset about that. And yes, if I was a Zerg, I'm 1/3 Zerg myself. I would be upset. That widely considered a bit of a dick move. Thankfully, doesn't end the series. Okay, not that either player thought it was likely to, but oh my. I can't believe he just... Like, what is that? Well, alright, Raven Hellion. But plenty of queens already in position to deal with this. 3 more gases on the way for GuMiho, who's not even heading towards the mech, but instead, the bio is the choice yet again. Roach Warren on the way. Roach Warren seeing a resurgence in popularity in this tournament specifically, as Lings and Banes cannot be relied on. It's just too larva intensive a lot of the time. As Solar found in Game 1, just the sheer amount of larva you need to support a Ling Bane army is a bit much against the very efficient early medevac stuff. So we've seen a lot of Roach Ravager Baneling as the use in the mid game at least, and then maybe Hydroing Bane later on. Very cute plays there, GuMiho. Keeping control of the creep. But Solar has not taken critical economic damage early. The Hellions did not get in and charbroil, puns intended, the drones. It is, so far, a relatively middle-of-the-road macro game in Solar. This is his bread and butter. He's got the roaches on the way. +1 ranged attack is the choice. He's got roach speed as well. No Bane Nest. No Bane Nest, so just straight up roaches here. Infestor's also a popular one to follow it up. Something to hold things down. And just threaten in general. But GuMiho has his 2 medevacs out on the map. It is a tenuous position. He can't really afford to lose too much, or Solar could bludgeon him with the Roach Ravager on the other side. GuMiho trades a few blows with the roaches, decides against it. Just gonna drop in the corner. Roach Ravager drives out the medevacs yet again. +1 infantry weapons. Roach speed on the way. Infantry armor not too far behind. Roach speed done now. So this is the deciding moment for Solar. How aggressive is he going to get with the Roach Ravager? Because he's heading straight towards 200 supply now. Needs a few more overlords to get there. But he is on 3 base economy. And he's got the 200 supply max out. He could get there potentially by like 8 minutes. It's pretty intensely fast, especially considering he was slowed down by the bunker earlier. A bit, honestly, a bit supply blocked is the only reason he's not already at 200. But here we go. 200 supply at 8 minutes. But the anti-armor missile gonna soften up the majority of the Roach Ravager. GuMiho doesn't have combat shield yet, which is kind of a big deal in this fight. Zerglings coming in, trying to kill the tanks. Gets neither of them. Corrosive Bile's finding a target. Another anti-armor missile. That's going to increase the DPS of the Marines insanely high. And he just, despite having maybe 2/3 of the army supply, GuMiho, with uncombat shielded Marines, the real MVP, the Raven. The Raven with anti-armor missile. Making a huge difference in that. I can't stress how that +2 damage. It is +2, not +3. Got a slight nerf, but on all those Marines and siege tanks, splash damage and the sheer DPS output of the Marines. So Solar, yeah, he tried it. It didn't work out. Now he is in the awkward position of not having a hive up against a more cost-effective Terran army. He really tried to bludgeon GuMiho there, but GuMiho struck right back. Well, now GuMiho heading towards 2-2. Not too far off, 30 seconds or so. 4th Command Center, double tank production. Even when he doesn't go mech, it's still a centerpiece of the army, as he knows how strong those siege tanks are in the right spot. Infestation pit is complete. Baneling speed is on the way. The Ravager Bane, the more typical army composition, but Solar doesn't have much time to get there. As the triple drop into the main base, not respecting the Zerglings at all, just dropping right in the midst of them. and trusting the Marines to power their way through. Will do so. Targets down the Spore Crawler. Anti-armor missile softens up the Queens. GuMiho over to the right flank. Does he have enough army to break through? Corrosive Battles are not on point, and the siege tank is still intact. The +2 attack finishes mid-fight. Solar's supply is plummeting. It looks like the drop in the main was taken out, but even a Hellback getting in on the action. The hatchery already bruised from the bunker attack earlier. GuMiho takes the supply lead in convincing fashion. Solar barely keeping up. He has creep all over the map. He can see the attacks, but he just simply cannot stop them. Oh my. It's just too much out of GuMiho here. The Ling Bane has not kicked in time. Baneling speed is done. Solar still has all his hatcheries. But GuMiho is 2-2. He's got a 4th command center landing. There is a world that if GuMiho doesn't capitalize on his advantage, Solar has the production to chase him across. But there's a lot of siege tanks. GuMiho's consolidated his forces. He's put them all together in a hammer to slam down on the Roaches and Ravagers. The medevac count is so damn high. The Ravagers are not enough to chip through the siege tanks. And GuMiho will take a convincing 3-0 against a player that I think most people would put as his better. Not too long ago. GuMiho. Just, wow, that is some really solid Marine tank play. I don't know how else to describe it. Just a very solid, honestly, a little bit one-sided overall. Solar obviously has some things to shore up, but GuMiho looking better than ever in his 13-year career. And honestly, I don't have high hopes for the player in our bonus series. Not just game, but series. We got a bonus, a final series here to top things off. I had suspicions that it might be a quicker one against Solar, so let me introduce, in the best of 3, this was played well before that series, by the way, the Protoss of our dreams, the WCS finalist in ages past, but it is Haz. One of the players who joined the tournament, well, Max Pax, who, as you know, isn't real. Max Pax declined his invite, so Haz was on the short list of players to qualify who were slightly further down the list. So, this is a best of 3 between Haz and GuMiho. You can have your suspicions as to how it ends, but... you know what, I will spoil it a bit. This series is not a long one, which is why, like, I didn't really want to cast it individually, but this afforded us a great opportunity. Yeah, a bit of a different matchup. GuMiho, I'm not the least bit surprised to see GuMiho just going double gas and building in his main, as you don't want to give as any opportunities to sneak his way in. He just has this... Haz is the greatest Bronze League hero. And you can find him on Bronze League Heroes, by the way. But the greatest Bronze League hero to ever make it to the WCS Finals is the quarterly cluster that we see between him. Though, unfortunately, and I am very disappointed. So, the regional qualifiers between Nice and Haz that we saw so often have actually... now been, the entire region, the entire Southeast Asia region has been converted into a single qualifier, which means we don't necessarily, the winner of it was Oliveira, actually. So pretty much Asia outside of Korea. But unfortunately, Oliveira not able to participate because of visa issues, which is another reason we see Haz here. But Oliveira ended up winning that qualifier, which means we are now, and possibly forevermore, denied the quarterly Nice versus Haz showdown. Why do we even build Reaper Walls? What's the point? It doesn't even work. This is not the first person. GuMiho's not the first player I've seen just... what is the point of Reaper Walls if they're just gonna bounce themselves in anyways? I don't know. Well, has adding on 3 more gates. There's a... He's been working off of 1. So it's a 4-gate robo, which is a remarkably standard build. Warp Prism is on the way. Widowmine drop... Oh, 4 Widowmines. Is he not... He's just gonna scamper around with 1. Well... Observer on the way across. It will successfully miss every single part of this. He didn't see the medevac. He didn't see the secondary mine. He saw none of it. So GuMiho, right as the Blink Stalkers head out. Does he have an armory? No, but... Okay. So Has reacts. He pulls the probes, which is a good split. And might have the star... Oh, not quite. Oh. Well... Did he save a probe with... Oh my god, the other Widowmine! I didn't notice it. Has didn't notice it. GuMiho gets into the natural. Kills... I think he got 5 probes with that one. And he gets out too. He scampers away with murder. Oh my god. Oh, GuMiho. Gets another kill. So Has is down to 23 probes before the game even really gets started. He's left with a desperate counterattack. GuMiho going to have bunkers. He's got a siege tank. He knows... Oh my god, the mine's coming back in. He still has another mine at the back. Well... Well, the SCVs are pulled. There's a lot of stalkers here. Widowmine comes in again. As is... the scan. I mean, why not? You don't really need economy. You just need to not die. Oh, this is a bit awkward. Oh, Has notices first. He actually boxes the Widowmine in. Burrows. I guess eventually he may kill the medevac. Anti-armor missile! GuMiho, a strong Raven enjoyer. And the bunker, well, will go down. The SCVs are pulled. There's not that many units behind. Another siege tank comes out, though. Yeah, without the bunker, it gets a little dicey. Widowmine's still going. There is no armory, so he could just kill that with probes. As jammed in behind the mineral line here. And still somehow making some prey. Blinks forward. He might get both the tanks. He targets down the second. And immediately GG's. Which is, you know, a bit of a weird timing, but I'll accept it. Alright. Okay. Game 1 goes to GuMiho. Not as dramatic as maybe we've seen before with Has, but he just kind of dies. GuMiho with a classic Widowmine drop, and then, of course, the kicker mine. I can't believe... I was wondering if it was intentional he didn't put it in the medevac, but... It appears indeed it was. Well, here we go. Game 2. GuMiho off to a pretty convincing start. We're maximizing our Gumi games to time ratio. And so far... He's following through between both these series. Speed running the ESL summer. Factory on the way. Has playing surprisingly macro-oriented. Goes Stalker before Warp Gate. Will he try anything? Now, I didn't, Jimmy did not vet these games beforehand either. So, I saw GuMiho versus Has. I saw probably not a lengthy series, though. I didn't hear too many rumblings about Has, so That probably means he wasn't coming up with the most original strategies like he's done in the past. We do have a Twilight on the way. And, come on, give me something, Has. Give me something to work with. Something to clickbait. Though I doubt we're going to clickbait this series because, of course, it is the bonus series. But a Dark Shrine. All right, classic, yet it's vintage, all right? Which is like a fancy way of saying old. Vintage. Well-aged, yet still... No, it's Blink. It's a vintage cheese, okay? Still edible, but, you know, you gotta have a particular taste. Double Reaper Hellion. They could bounce any of the... Hello? Hello? Anyone? Anyone? 2 Stalkers. He could bounce them out of the way. Gets one. And then GuMiho realizes, oh yeah, these have jetpacks. He can just jump into the main, ignores the other. Well. GuMiho kind of making this look like a couple ladder games here so far. He killed 5 of... Like, that was about 1/5 of Haz's economy. Overall. It's gonna be Blink again. Yeah, this is GuMiho kind of going through the motions. It's like, I'm better than you. Gets in his grill with a little bit of early aggression, throws him off balance, and then builds up behind. And Haz, so far, has not really challenged him. This was slightly different than game 1, but it is going to be Blink yet again. And, well, here comes the Widowmine drop. GuMiho's already up 5 workers, which is a pretty horrible place for a Protoss to be before they've done any sort of counter damage. Widowmine drop comes in, Blink 5 seconds out. Oh, Widowmine at least taken out in time. But another mine, he didn't even notice. Oh no, Haz. Nope, he's retargeting, recalculating. Doesn't get the massive hit, but 5 more probes. Oh my, where are you going? He's scampering into the main. Deja vu, we've just been in this place before. Blink Stalkers and nothing left at home. Wow, this is, I think, even worse than the last game. The tank's done. The bunker is not. He's trying to do it. Oh my. Wow, that's a bit of a disaster piece. GuMiho. Speed running. Just a classic. That was just like 2 ladder games right there. Well, GuMiho clearly and decisively slapping Haz right across the Blink Stalkers and taking this series cleanly as well. So 5 Gumi games in quick succession. A decisive victory over Solar, an almost embarrassing victory over Haz. I hope you enjoyed the bonus series as well, if only to demonstrate that GuMiho is quite a competent player. I'll vet some of the other Haz series as well. But if you have recommendations, of course, leave them in the comments. What do you think of GuMiho nowadays? Is he the best Terran? Was it a fluke? Is he only going to keep getting better? 13 years of GuMiho, and he's never looked quite this good. Thank you for watching. I hope I made your day a little bit better. I'll see you next time. Good luck, have fun. How many likes? 1,058. They already made it this far. Anyways, stay chill.